All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill. Hello to everybody,
We
every
might have to
person.
we might have to change our podcast name
Oh, gee, why would that be, Bill?
because definitely recently we are not talking about rookie stuff for sure. We're talking about some advanced techniques on how to do things in the world of creative real estate, eh?
Oh, yeah.
So we are on episode number 454, and the title of today's episode is Shocking Truth. Why creative offers are getting rejected in today's economy. Here's the description. What if everything you've been taught about making real estate offers is actually sabotaging your chances of financial freedom and retiring early? Look, I know this. You're making offers, following the rules. Yet sellers are ghosting you faster than your next breath. In this episode, we will totally reveal what you should not be doing when talking to sellers and scare them off like a fox in a henhouse. You need to know how to stop getting your offers tossed in the garbage and get sellers listening to you. Plus, we will reveal the precise rejection triggers you need to avoid when talking to real estate sellers about creative finance solutions that can help solve their painful motivation for wanting to sell. If you are making offers but hearing crickets, or worse, outright rejection, you are going to love what you are about to hear. Also, if you are sick and tired of making creative real estate offers that go nowhere while watching your chances of retirement or retiring early slip away, this might be the most important 60 minutes you'll ever invest in. Do I have your attention, Peter?
Oh, excuse me, what? Of course. Of course.
All right, so let's do some housekeeping.
Yeah.
So please subscribe to us and like us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Please leave a review if you so care to leave a 5-star review, and you take a snapshot of it and send it to flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com. I will reward you with some free courses for taking your time. It's not a bribe, though it sounds like a bribe, but just for using your time to do a nice thing for everyone, including us. Also, I have released two new products, and more to come. I released a book called Leads, Deals, Cash, the Creative Real Estate Manual. You can find it on Amazon if you just go into Amazon and type William Hawthorne, no E, Hawthorn. You can find that book, and I have 5 or 6 other books there too, but you can find that book there, and go ahead and grab it. I also have, based on the content of the book and everything we talk about here, a very concise way of speaking things. It's a 5-minute read on Saturday morning, a free newsletter. That newsletter link is in the description of most podcasts. I changed today's description, and I'll tell you why at the end of the podcast. But it's at Creative Real Estate Dealology on Creative Real Estate. Oh my God, I forgot the URL.
You have too many URLs, books, sites.
Yeah, it's creativerealestatedealology.com/subscribe. So it's creativerealestatedealology.com/subscribe. It is a free newsletter. I send it out every Saturday morning, and it's all about deal structuring and creative real estate. Okay? So there is our housekeeping, and we're ready to jump into the podcast.
Jump, baby, jump.
Rejection triggers.
Oh no.
What the hell does that mean?
I know. Does it have anything to do with girls?
Oh, stop.
Okay.
You may or may not ask yourself, what are they? Or maybe you don't think you are doing them and not making deals for some other reason. I promise you it's not. Watch this. Rejection means, rejection means a dismissing or refusing of a proposal or an idea. A dismissing or refusing of a problem or an idea. So what does that mean to you, Peter?
Well, if we look at our Latin roots here, we have re and ject from jacere, meaning to throw, and re meaning back. So to me, it means they throw it back at you. How rude is that?
Okay. So it's a dismissing or refusing of a proposal or an idea.
Yeah.
It is anti-spurring. What does spurring mean?
Oh, that would mean to like move forward. Be inspired to go ahead.
Right.
Like spur on. Spur
right.
on.
So it is anti-spurring or anti-attracting to someone's attention or affection. Rejection, overtly or covertly done. Rejection, overtly or covertly and done, intentionally or unintentional, is the number one deal killer in our game.
I like when you said overtly or covertly or unintentionally, like you think it's fine and it's just not. And you can't even tell because they're not telling you. They're acting like, oh, yeah.
I would actually consider changing my coaching fees from my normal fee, monthly fee, to just charging $5 for every time somebody tells me they have a deal when they don't. And I would make more than my monthly coaching fee.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Wish I had a nickel for every one, huh?
$5 for every time a coaching client says, I got this really motivated person and they're going to do a deal. Can you?
Yep.
And within 5 minutes and usually a handful of questions, I find out they're not actually motivated or the client didn't do what they're supposed to.
That's a $5 lesson.
Yeah. Rejection means a seller is refusing to accept, refusing to use, or refusing to believe your ideas can actually help them. Or they think your solutions don't fit their results that they want or desire. Right? I mean, truth be told, whether I hate it or not, the fact is that there's the realtor system out there.
There is.
Right? The realtor system is you go to realtor school and you get licensed on how to fill out a purchase and sales contract and legally hold the deposit in escrow, and that's what you learn in realtor school.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I went through it. Right? Now there might be a few other minor points, but they don't teach you how to negotiate. They don't teach you how to run your business. They don't teach you how to get clients. They don't teach you about any of that. Because they had this thing called the MLS, the multiple listing service, that for many years, probably a decade and a half, was a way for them to put their listed properties on a website and actually capture buyers. Until they got a little bit greedy and all of a sudden they allowed sites, or they started buying and being part of sites, which is what they got sued for, like Redfin and Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, right? They started getting involved with all these sites, which shot themselves in the foot because now they no longer have exclusivity to the buyer. So the realtor business is imploding because of that. Just that simple.
Sure.
Right? But here's my point in saying all this. It was the only game in town. They had a monopoly for 75 years. It was either go to the realtor or sell it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know different than that because there are other ways to do that because you don't legally need anybody to sell your house. You don't legally need anybody to sign a deed over to someone and send it to and go to the town hall, pay the fees at the city's clerk's office, and actually put the new deed on file so they know who the new owner is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You don't even need to pay off the liens. Everything goes with the title,
Hmm.
right? This is the reason why Title Lock has come around, right? This new insurance company, because foreigners, mostly Indians, but foreigners are finding free and clear titles, and they actually they file a new deed with a forged name on it because they can see the seller's signature on it's right on file. So
Yeah.
with today's documents, you could easily copy and paste somebody's signature,
Mm-hmm.
and they steal the deed. And then they go, once they get the deed in their name, they go get loans and all kinds of stuff, and then you find out 4 months later. That's why Title Lock has come about.
Mm-hmm.
My point in this is that it's a very anti-personal way of solving problems, right? It means the seller had to accept or had to use or had to believe and had to fall under the ideas of the realtor system. But now creative real estate, or as I call creative real estate or creative finance, or us type of guys that are not uh, organized yet or have license yet, which I'm working on. I work on it and then I stop working on it, and then I work on it and stop working on it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are not able to be a force to help people.
Right. We're independent. We're not a group. We're
Right.
individuals.
And there's no standardization of how to do it. That's one of the things that happened with the realtor system. Is in 1949 someone wrote a code of ethics and then created the National Association of Realtors to implement the code of ethics to make some sort of a national standardization of how realtors work.
Right.
Right. So that means that because we don't have that, so many creative real estate offers uh, lack the number one ingredient, and this
Mm.
is why deals are not being made. It comes down to one word: why deals are not being made. This is the emotional trigger that you're missing. It's called affection,
Affection.
right? Which simply means a gentle feeling or fondness and liking.
Hmm.
Right?
Okay.
If the seller senses a feeling of you being too businesslike and not liking and caring for the seller and their needs, end of game. This is exactly the emotional trigger that you hit that you should avoid. This is what you should avoid. This is the actual rejection trigger.
Oh, like if they don't feel the affection.
I'm going to tell you how right now.
Okay.
The rejection trigger is to talk all about the money.
Yeah.
All about the money. I could give you this much, and assume how many coaching clients I have this because they owe $80,000 and the house is worth 100. Because in my system, in the seven strategies I teach, I devise the offers given by how much equity they have. So if they have 20% worth of equity, you do a subject to deal. I can't tell you how many times my partner Sean says, "I need you to call this person. It's a subject to deal." And I get on
Yeah.
the phone with them. I'm like, they haven't even talked to anybody. So how did he know it was a subject to deal? It's because he's very smart, very analytical, and very like, well, mathematically, that's what they should do. If I was them, that's what I would do. And that is the death trap.
Yeah.
That is the exact rejection trigger you need to avoid.
Well, you're not talking to a calculator. You're talking to a person.
Okay, I'm going to go a little bit more.
Mm,
because I could go for the next hour talking about what you just said,
yeah.
but I won't. If the seller senses a feeling of you being too businesslike and not liking and caring for the seller and their need, end of game.
Mm,
The seller wants to know how you care for them before they care how much you know.
okay.
The seller wants to know how you care for them before they care about how much you know. So many rookies spend weeks and months and years and decades trying to learn every single thing they got to tell the seller, when all they need to do is just have empathy, just have some compassion towards the seller's situation, and they will get more deals than somebody like me,
Hmm.
right? To know all the numbers. Now, here's the main point in today's podcast or today's conversation. People fake a lot of shit, especially in today's world. You 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 will pretend. I'm sorry, there's a text. I have no idea what it said. You will repent. I'm going to give this again. You will pretend to be enthusiastic or helpful, but it's all in the name of you wanting to make 10 grand because your situation and your monetary reason for doing this leaks through the deal.
Mm,
Instead of doing what's right for the person and granting them the beingness of who they are, who they want to be, what they want to get, doesn't happen
hmm.
because you're too worried about you. And don't even know it. This is a subconscious thing. The
Yeah.
seller, now once that happens, it creates the rejection trigger.
Hmm.
The seller doesn't hang up on you because they're too polite. So now the seller will pretend to agree with you and let you believe you have a deal. Then ghost you because you didn't notice they were covertly lying to you.
Hmm.
Which means if you can't tell the difference between an actor or actress, seller moves, and the truth, you lose every time. And
Mm,
this is the crux of it all. So if you're not on the affection train, right, which means having gentle feelings or fondness and liking the person for who they are, being grateful that they're talking to you so you can learn more,
hmm.
being very appreciative of their opinions and their situation and allowing you to get something from this other than money and experience and the ability to help another human being. I mean, how do you feel when you can help one of your kids, Peter?
Well, it's really better than the opposite. With that feeling when you don't and you hang up. What you do a lot of hard work to raise kids. You do a bit of hard work with each person you talk to on a phone. And if it doesn't work, it's just bad. When it does, it doesn't matter how much and how hard. When it works, it's worth it because it works.
Right. I'm not sure what you just said, but I got it. What works? You
Well,
just
whatever you're doing, if you're selling, but you're talking about rejection or not failing to help somebody.
right.
It
So
doesn't
my
work.
point is if you have adult children and you try to help them when they don't want help,
Hmm.
you're considered mingling in their life.
Oh yeah.
If you just wait, which I have go through this with my wife all the time, and it's coming to fruition now because my kids are older, but you just help them when they ask for help. That's it. With adult children. Otherwise, you can't.
Hmm.
Okay. So today we need to talk about knowing the difference between when they're lying to you and when they're not,
Mm.
while keeping your affection hat on, while being compassionate and allowing them to be who they are and granting them that right, like they're not taking something away from you,
Yeah.
like you're going to lose the deal, so you go back to business, like,
Oh.
right.
Well, I've heard you many times say, "Look, I don't think I can help you with this,"
Right.
and purposely pull back. And they go, "No, no,
Yep.
no, no. What do you mean? What do you mean?" So, if it's true, you have to say it. I've done it. Like, I don't
Right.
know. I don't think this is the right deal for you. I could offer you this, but I wouldn't do it. And I don't think I should offer it to you. I don't think it's right. Well, what do you
Right.
mean? Well, I think this is better. And it's more real to do that than like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. I'll make more money. Like, no,
Right.
it's not right. No.
So today we need to talk about how and when you can detect this fake out
Mm-hmm.
from sellers so you have a realistic understanding of your seller's intention.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not something that is taught in any book. I will eventually write a book soon about how to do all this,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a method. There is actually formulas. There's actually ways to deal with people's emotions and conversations in a non-salesman like manner, and getting so persuasion's the big bad word that nobody likes to talk about. You don't want to be a
Mm-hmm.
persuader,
Mm-hmm.
right? However, if you do some of the things I'm talking about today, the person that you're talking to will persuade themselves, because they will walk right into the right way to think about something that will either, whether it's you being the solution or somebody else or something else,
Mm-hmm.
but they will make some finality. The best thing that you could do for any seller when getting on the phone is saying, I'm going to help this person get finality. They're going to figure out what their problem is, what they need to solve, and we're going to clarify it so it's so simple in their head. They have a vision they can make a decision with because they can see it very clear. That is the purpose of talking to a seller, none other. And if you do that enough times, you will flourish and prosper because it's karma. And the number one way to do this is to make sure you are assessing the accuracy of what the seller is telling you while making offers or helping solve problems. Now, I'm going to go off into some technical things for a couple minutes on how I do this or how it works. But
Mm-hmm.
in the end, I'm going to show you how to do it 1, 2, 3, simple, simple, simple.
Good.
Okay, so don't get stuck on the significance. I'm just giving you the theory of why some of my sentences and some of the things that I say work everywhere. We
Mm-hmm.
work with everyone every time if you do it.
Yep.
Okay? So listen to the things like, so here's what you do. You listen to things like consistent information or relevant situations to ensure the seller has correct data,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or good vision to make a decision. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So just so I'm not talking so much. So why don't you tell the audience, if you know, if you don't, then I will. What
No,
what
I could use an example of that myself. It's
let me finish.
yeah.
So what does non sequitur mean?
It's like non-sequence. Like somebody says something, and then the next thing doesn't really follow. It doesn't connect like it should.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's,
if you were to say to somebody, how did you come up with the price of your house?
mm-hmm.
My 10-year-old daughter told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that non sequitur? Is
Well,
it consistent information in the conversation?
it's following it. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Right. That's what non sequitur is, information pertaining to the subject you're speaking of or relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me look that up. Let me just do, because I'm giving a different definition than you,
Okay.
because I have a different idea of what it is.
Okay. Well, in your example, there's an answer, but the source is really bad. A 10-year-old, that's like that doesn't make sense.
That's my point is. Or
Yeah.
suppose suppose you say to somebody like, how did you come up with that value of the property?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, my mom and I decided to do that. We
Hmm.
decided, oh, okay, is your mom a realtor? No. Well,
Mm.
how does your mom know? Oh, well, she watches the real estate ads and she keeps track of all of the houses that are sold. So she knows a whole lot about that.
Hmm.
Is that consistent information for you to make a deal?
It doesn't really connect with what's
Hell no.
valid.
Hell no.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. Hell no. You got
doesn't
to be
connect.
careful of that, right? So, information quality or data quality is the main reason 95% of all deals are not concluded or come to a closing, because you and others accept information that is non pertinent to the deal.
Hmm.
Let me give you an example. You get on the phone, right, and you're talking to a seller, and they go off. Well, how much you asking for the house? 420,000. Oh, well, geez. Okay, you see it on Zillow for 360,
Yep.
right? Never happened before, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Hasn't happened yet today, but it happens every day, right? So you say to them, okay, so I see it on Zillow for 360. How come you're asking 420? And they go off on a 10-minute dissertation about all the renovations that they did to the house,
Sure.
right? The
Oh yeah.
bedroom, and I got the best floors, and I got the best yard, and I got a swimming pool. Nobody else has a swimming pool. And they give you all of this non relevant, non quality, non important information.
Hmm.
The sequence is always been, has been, still is, even though we automate it. You text somebody or you communicate with somebody, do you have a house for sale? Yes. Then you do the opening call, and the opening call is to qualify them on, are you willing to do a terms deal, meaning taking monthly payments so I can pay you off, or give me some sort of a discount? Then you do the closing call, and the closing call finds out what their situation is, and you match a one of my 7 deal strategies to that situation so it helps them get what they want.
Hmm.
And then the last step is the deal meeting. The deal meeting is where you go once you get done with the closing call and you have documents signed. The purpose of the closing call is to find out the seller's motivation and if it aligns with what you can do for them. Has nothing to do with the house. The
Hmm.
due diligence is done after they sign the documents, after they're motivated, after you close them, that you can do your strategy with them. You now go do your due diligence. So when we're talking to somebody in the closing call, in the opening call or the closing call, opening calls where we're pre-qualifying them, and the closing call is when we're actually giving them offers, and they're talking about how they renovated the house and how it's got more bathrooms and more. Is it important? No. All we want to find out on this call is, are they motivated to do one of our deal strategies?
Hmm.
We will get all that information later on in the due diligence stage when we go out and look, because it doesn't matter what they say, because we operate off of we operated off of the datum. We you don't what am I trying to say here? Pay attention to what they do, not what they say. If it's not
Oh,
in writing, it's not true. So we need
yeah.
evidence before we believe them. So we're not going to believe them when they say the house is worth 420 until we go do our due diligence. The
Hmm.
due diligence isn't done. We don't do any work on this house until after they've proven they're motivated and flexible enough to do one of our strategies,
Hmm.
right? So
Okay.
information or data quality is the main reason 95% of deals are not done, because investors or entrepreneurs do not do this correctly. The wrong data evaluation leads you to incorrect inaccuracies, which lead to flawed insights and decisions on your part and your seller's part. So if you fall into the trap of them telling you all this false data, or allowing them to talk for 20 minutes about how pretty the house is because they're trying to sell you, and not get the right data from the seller, you lost. Right? So how do you get this accurate data so it's free from errors and reflects real world situations. So I'm way in the profound pool right now. I promise you I'm going to come out pretty soon, but I'm just going to give you some ideas. Okay.
Sure, sure.
So here's a few indicators. There's actually 4 of them. Okay. So the first indicator is relevance. The information is relevant. This is where you decide if the seller's information is pertinent to actually selling this property. Or is it pertinent to them actually being flexible to one of your offers?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not relevant to that, you don't need to talk about it. You need to get off of it. You need to get back to the data you need to talk about is, are you flexible enough to do one of my deals?
Okay.
If you're not, whack them.
Mm.
Number 2, consistency. You need to closely pay attention for any contradictions or discrepancies within the seller's conversation, right? So I call these contrary facts,
Sure.
right? So you need to be closely paying attention for any contradictions or discrepancies within the seller's conversation. Like they'll say to you, I got 25 people a day calling me about my house. Right? That's
Yep.
that's something you don't need to know.
Mm.
Right? So the way you handle that is you say, okay, how many offers have you gotten? Oh,
Yeah.
none.
Yeah.
So you didn't need to know that. It doesn't do anything for your deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a non-consistent contradiction to what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Another one is the realtor couldn't sell it. I had it listed for 6 months and the realtor couldn't sell it. The realtor's no good. The realtor did this and that and blah, 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 blah. It's consistent data for them. But at the end of the day, it's the seller that did something wrong. That's why the house didn't sell. The house is too much money. The house has got a dysfunctional layout. The house is next to an atomic nuclear plant. I don't know. There's some reason the seller wouldn't allow the realtor to go in and show it. It needs repairs, and the seller didn't have enough money for repairs. There's so many things. It's not the realtor. So when you hear the realtor couldn't sell it, you need to dig into that because that's a discrepancy or a contradiction to your deal. It means they're not going to be flexible.
Right. I mean, you can almost say it can't be the realtor because a bunch of people showed up, whether it's 25 a day, a bunch of people showed up. So if they couldn't buy it, who's the one stopping it? It has to be the seller. The realtor's not going to stop it. It has to be them.
Right. So I can't read my own writing right now. Oh, here we go. Date, timeline. Like, oh, we renovated it. We did a $50,000 renovation.
Okay.
Then you look at pictures and you're like, what? Right? To find out they did it 5 years ago. So dates are important. So these are contradictions or discrepancies that show up that you don't even notice. You don't pick up on these. Right?
Oh, if you just take their word for it, that would be a mistake. You look at the pictures.
Which was in podcast number 453, which is why I talked about all that. Right? You have to have evidence. It's like you're in court, and they have to show evidence.
Yeah.
Of what they're saying. Right? Now the next one is number 3, usability. Right? This has a twofold meaning. A, how much did a seller understand your offer when you give it to them? So I asked them to repeat it. What do you think is going to happen? Tell me what I just said. What does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Right? And this is a good one. So I know you're going to talk to your husband about the offer. What are you going to tell him?
Yeah.
Right? Is the information usable? The second one is, how usable is the data the seller's giving you on the property they're trying to sell? Right? How usable is it? Right?
Oh, yeah. They'll say a lot of things, but
Does it matter to somebody? Because realize at the end of the day, here's what we want, Peter.
Mhm.
We want to get a house for the least amount of money possible. And I don't mean purchasing it. I mean for like down payment money or no money down or whatever we can do. A creative real estate deal. We want to flip
Mhm.
the documents. We call that FRED. Flip real estate.
Documents.
Yeah.
Documents.
Uh, yeah, flipping real estate documents, right?
Mhm.
So what we're doing is we're not giving them money. We're not purchasing the house. We're just controlling it for a little while so we can make money.
Mhm.
How do we make money? We make money from our buyers. So we're trying to get houses on consignment or for as little money as possible, just like a realtor, because a realtor signs a multiple listing agreement. They don't pay anything for it, and they get to go find the buyers that will pay them their commissions.
Mhm.
We're doing the same thing, right? So here's the most core, and I said this a year ago, and it hasn't caught on because it's not. I don't push it enough, and people don't understand it enough.
Really?
Yeah. What you're trying to do is you're trying to find a popular house with your buyers. You're trying to find a house that will attract the most amount of buyers possible.
Mm.
It's like the golden nugget in the when you're on the beach and you're walking through the beach and your wife or your kids are looking for seashells and all of a sudden there's this golden nugget sticking out. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I struck it rich. So you're looking for that most popular house for the most amount of attraction of buyers.
Mm.
That's what you're trying to do,
Mhm.
right? So so you have to pay attention to the usability. This house has to be usable for that.
Right.
So the whatever the seller's telling you, it either and it goes back into relevance and consistently. Are they telling you the right things you need to hear to actually put this house in the market and have a popularity contest?
Mm.
Is all this information going to lead to that?
Mm.
Right? And then the last one, number 4, is competence. I'm sorry, completeness.
Mm.
Completeness.
Mhm.
Are they giving you all of the data? And I break
Oh,
this down.
right.
I break this down A, B, C, D. So I break it down to 5 points. So are they omitting facts? Are they not telling you something?
Mhm.
Are the sequences of events that they're telling you correct? Right. I had my house for sale with a realtor. Oh,
Mm.
okay. And you find out that they had it for sale with a realtor 2 years ago, and now they put it on the market for sale by owner,
Mhm.
right? Or here's another one. The biggest one I run into out of sequence is probate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the parents die and they go to probate court and they try to sell it, they clean it out. So you have to get me when I do a probate court, I go through the sequence first,
Mhm.
right? I ask, did you go to probate court? Well, no, I have a power of attorney. I don't need to right away.
Oh,
So power of attorney only works for somebody that's alive, not dead.
right. It's gone
So
after that.
so they're trying to sell a house they can't sell because they have to go to probate court. So
Yeah.
the sequence is out.
Mhm.
And instead of dinking around and finding out about that later, I want to get it up front.
Sure.
So
But you
you
but you can also help them better if they
oh
don't
yeah.
understand that. And so
Yep.
it's not like it's blowing the deal up. You're actually doing better because you're finding out what they really need to have happen right now, the next thing.
Right. Right.
It's a good thing.
So the next one is how about timeliness, right? Is their data up to date? Is it current present
Um,
time data or
mm,
is it data that was from 1920,
mhm.
right? D is maybe the seller doesn't know and is giving you false data, right? That's probably the biggest ones. I say all sellers are liars, all buyers are liars too, right?
Mhm.
The reason why is because they don't know and they're inventing shit as they go because all they want to do is solve the problem that they have what this house is causing or is the solution for,
Mhm.
right? I got to pay my $40,000 worth of taxes and I got equity in my house. I got to sell the house.
Yeah.
You are not going to do a deal with that person unless you give him 40 grand.
Mhm.
right? So timeliness is, I mean, I'm sorry, maybe the seller doesn't know what they don't know. So go back to timeliness, right? Oh, well, when do the taxes due? Well, I have a year and a half. Because you could you could make some money in January of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
January 2020, you're not going to file your taxes
Oh.
until April of 2022, and then it's going to be due. So you have all that time to come up with the 40 grand,
Ah, it's true.
right? So the last one is, uh, how important is it? How important is this data to selling the house?
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing you need to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they're telling you, how relevant is it to your to your offer that you're going to give them? And how relevant is it to them selling this house? How important is it? Does it align with what they really want, or do they have a bunch of crap in their head and they're just bouncing around? Right?
Yeah.
I can promise you this. I can promise you with all of my heart. This is not, I do this naturally, thank God. If I had to learn it, I would think it would be difficult. But the important thing to do is to constantly qualify the information they're giving you to a couple of points. How important is this for me giving them an offer?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it gonna help? Is one of my offers gonna help them solve that problem
Right.
or not?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it is, then I ask more questions. If it isn't, I get right off of it and get back to the questions that will help me.
Yep.
And number two, I'm going to constantly check the things that I was just talking about, their facts and their ideas up against how quick I can help them. All right. By now, I'm sure I have overwhelmed everybody. So let me show you some of the very simple ways to do this in a conversation.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. If you are annoyed with weird and unproductive seller calls, it is for this only. It is for this one and only skill misbehavior, and this is it, or lack of this skill.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are having weird and annoying phone calls and you're not closing people, it's for this one skill misbehavior. Only this one skill misbehavior, nothing else.
Okay.
So all of what the seller tells you, and most likely, if not trying to misdirect you, because some people intentionally are trying to, screw you up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's 1 out of 20. So all of what the seller tells you, and most likely, what he's trying to portray to you, is classified in 2 categories. So every conversation with every seller comes down to 2 categories.
Okay.
Okay. And you need to decide every sentence they tell you, you have to categorize in one of these 2 categories.
Okay.
Right. Number 1 is a fact. Is this a fact?
Mm.
Which is something that can be proven to exist, is visible, and has provable evidence. I'm 6 months behind on my mortgage. Okay, can you give me your most recent mortgage statement so I could see that?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my house is worth $420,000 because it's got a swimming pool. Can you give me other comps for a house like yours that have a swimming pool that are $420,000?
Mm-hmm.
It's a provable evidence. Show me first. What is it? Missouri? The show me state? Which one is that?
Oh,
is it Missouri, I think?
I think so. Yeah. The show me
called
state.
The show me state, right?
Yeah. Show me. Show me.
Show me before I believe.
Yeah. Prove it.
Number 2 bucket is an opinion.
Mm.
So which is something that may or may not be based on any facts, or to be proven or visible when hunting it down for evidence. My wife is a genius at this. It took me 20 years to figure this out. I've been with her 25, almost 26 years.
Yeah.
My wife, when she executes her words, she makes it sound like it's written in stone. It came from the Bible. God sent it down and it must be true.
She's got good confidence, huh?
She's got unbelievable confidence.
Yeah.
And she tells you like it just is. Oh my God, she has so much data. She's got so much evidence. And it's just a factual thing. And then I'll ask one question and find out, oops, she's got nothing.
Mm-hmm. Is it the same question, or is it something pertinent to whatever the situation is?
It's pertinent to the situation.
Yeah,
It's doing just that. Like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, so everyone, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so who said that?
Yeah.
Who exactly told you that?
Yeah.
And then I'll ask, then I do the whole what, where, when, why, that whole thing that we talked about a couple podcasts ago.
Any word that starts with a W. Yes.
Yeah. What, when, where, why, all that stuff. Like,
And a how.
I just, in a how, yeah. Right. And I just kind of trace it down until I find out, oh, that was bullshit. That was just a myth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, or bluntly put, here's what's happening. You, Peter, I'm naming you, and I'm sorry for doing this because I'm doing it publicly. And very many of my coaching clients are sloppy, creative real estate offer generators. Because you don't see the difference between the seller's facts and opinions, and you're not isolating what's real and what's not real, and you're paying attention to too many opinions and trying to make offers based on the seller's opinions, not on the facts. And by not querying with some of the ways I've just explained to you already, the entrepreneur will accept opinions as valid information, which are opinions non provable, and consider them as a fact. It's a masquerade or a false pretense or a seller pretending to be someone they are not in real life. Now, just because I need to move along here because we're running out of time and I have a lot more to cover, so I'm going to kind of breeze through some of this stuff. When you well, let's put it this way. Pick any spouse or other significant other. When you first meet them, they'll act one way with you, and then when they're around their friends and they're around their party or around their family, they act a different way, right?
Can be, yeah.
So people will act differently in public than they will in private, correct? So you have to realize when you're on the phone with a seller, you're the public. They're acting differently than what they really are. You have to know that. They're masquerading their pain. They're masquerading their motivation because they don't want to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, but I think that plays into what you said in the beginning, that we have to not do that when we start the conversation. Because if we're phony, they're going to act phony.
Right. And they have to, what would it say? I always get this mixed up. You have to, they care,
Oh, you have to show that you care so they care to show you, or something like that.
Yeah, so they care more about how you care than they care more about what you know. They want to know more about how you care for them than what you know. Right.
Well, so, it doesn't matter what you know. If you're not taking care of them, it doesn't matter.
Right. So that is the trigger, right? That is the actual rejection trigger, is because you're not caring about them. Once you start caring about them, the masquerade, the social veneer melts away, and you go behind the curtain and you find out who they really are and what's really happening. But that you have to show some trust, right? And when you're using opinions to make offers instead of facts, then you sound insane, and your seller dismisses you because you're not. It's non sequitur. You're not in subject, in line with what they think and how they feel with your offer.
Mm.
You made it all about money,
Mm-hmm.
right? You cannot use incidental facts and actually nail a grand slam offer. Can't do it, right? It's impossible. And most believe their data is correct and a basic law, right? And a basic law means it's what you think that aligns with other junior facts, right? So you think this is a senior datum or a basic law, and everything falls underneath it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in other words, you think that money counts because you don't have any. And then you get on the phone with a person that owns a $1.2 million house and you put them on a pedestal, right? Which means that you're only looking up to him. They're looking down to you. You're looking up to him, and you put yourself in a bad position to begin with because they have a $1.2 million house and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, can you fix your microphone, please? When you crossed your arms, it did something. If you can't pierce this false data with your seller by giving provable facts or evidence to shift their falsehoods, you will miss their true ruin, devastation, or problem keeping them up at night and not be able to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the punchline, Peter. I don't care what business you're in. I could do days worth of lectures on this. Days, months worth of lectures on this. Help equals gargantuan deals. Help equals gargantuan deals. The plumber comes to my house to help me with the leaky faucet. He gets paid. The car dealership sells me the car that boosts my ego and gives me a red Porsche because I have an ego that needs a red Porsche and I feel good when I leave there. He helped me with that.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor helped me with my knee when it hurt and gave me the right prescription or the right remedy.
Mm.
Help makes gargantuan deals everywhere. And if you go into a situation with a seller with just the intention to help them and no other reason, and know that if you help enough people, you will get gargantuan deals. End of stories. This is the reason why I told you to get the poster board and put 100 boxes on it. And every time you call somebody to try to help them, you put their name, phone number, and address in the box. It has to be empathy and help and not try to make a deal. You should find deals by accident when you do this. When you do this and you just try to actually help them. I've stopped conversations and said, look, you know what? I'm not sure what's going on here, but how can I help you? Why did you get on this call? What did you want from me? What help did you want from me? I've done this for 30 years and done hundreds of houses. I can come up with any way to help you possible. So why don't you just tell me, how do you want my help? Why did you want to talk to me?
Mm-hmm.
And they will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, believe it or not, all this podcast that we've been doing for 54 minutes now, I have created shortcuts for all of this. So you don't need to be all into theory about this, right?
Yep.
And that's called our Grand Slam offer, which is stolen from Alex Hormozy. He's a big marketing guy. It works like this. Make sellers an offer so good they would feel stupid saying no, right? When you do this, you need no skill or even be good at making offers, right? Now, here is what is missing in this formula we have been using.
Mm.
If you can offer a seller 35% more than market value of a property and they say no, right? So the Grand Slam offer shows them how they can get cash flow. It's in a 3-year period. It shows them how they can get cash flow. It shows them how they can get principal reduction on their mortgage. It shows them how they can get appreciation and depreciation, which comes out to be about 35% more than market value. So a $300,000 house over the course of 3 years will give them $394,000. So it gives them an extra $94,000.
Yep.
Okay. So if they say no to that, right? If they say no to that, here's what you do. You have to go through the gamut of what omitted facts are there. What aren't they telling you? Right? So what bad solutions have they used in the past? And what sequence have they used them? Right? You have to figure out the timing for them. Why the timing is the number one thing. Why I want the cash now and I want to wait 3 years from now.
Right.
Right. You need to find that out. Right. And then you're going to find out that there's some senior false datum that they're looking at. Well, I don't want to do rental property because my grandmother rented when I was a kid and she said never do that.
Right.
Right. So take your mic and pull it around your collar because it's rubbing up against your collar. No. The thing, that thing, yeah.
Oh.
That's what's making all the noise.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you. So also you have to find out you have not the most important reason why they're selling it. So if they say no to a Grand Slam offer, that usually means they don't want to wait the 3 years. They want cash now. So here's what you do, right? You have to do this. This is an absolute must, right? And I talked about this a bazillion times. What would have to happen for me to do a deal with you today? Or what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? Because sometimes we're trying to buy houses, sometimes we're not, right? Sometimes we're just trying to control them.
Yeah.
This will be their Grand Slam offer.
Right.
They'll just spit it out. So you gave them our Grand Slam offer, just like the realtor did. I can get you 35% over market value. Here's how it works. And they said no. So now you have to find out, what do they consider a Grand Slam offer to be?
That's really interesting. Because if they don't like this one, well, what's their idea of what one would be?
Right.
It's interesting to look at it from that perspective, to find out what they think it would be, to find it.
Now, here comes at the very end, the most important part of this podcast that I cannot get implemented across the boards anywhere. Because I am up against a societal myth.
Which is?
To make money, you have to get it cheaper. Right? So to make money, somebody has to give something up so another person can win. Right? So if I want to sell pencils for $1, I have to buy them for less than $1.
Sure.
Okay? I learned this lesson when I bought my wife a couch for $6,000.
Yes.
Seriously. Think about it. The furniture store says, buy this couch for $6,000 and I'll give it to you for 5 years, no interest, pay monthly.
Okay.
How did they do that? Well, it was a $4,500 couch.
Yeah.
They sold it for $6,000. They put the interest in it and said to me, pay monthly, $62 a month for 5 years, and it's yours. We'll deliver it on Monday. Right? So where did they make their money? Did they make their money on a cheaper couch? Did they make their money by buying the couch cheaper? Or did they find a way to make money by selling it for full retail and found another mechanism or device to sell the couch, which was financing?
Payments. Yep.
So this cracks up against the hardest myth I have to break. So here's what happens. Now check this magic out. So you say to them, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? Right?
Yep.
Whatever they say, you ask, if I can do that, do we have a deal?
Mhm.
No matter how ridiculous, you try to get you try to get into reality. So if they're asking 420,000 for a house, and you know it's worth 375, you say, "Is that the best you can do?" Realize if I take this thing under my wing, it's going to thwart how many people reach out because it's not going to be a popular house,
Mhm.
right? And whether or not you could do that, you just agree with their grand slam offer.
Okay.
You send them an option agreement stating their grand slam offer that they made with you.
Mhm.
Now to finish up today's podcast, listen closely. Because this is powerful. Because my coaching clients and all 3 coaching groups that are doing this are crushing it. You make your money or your fortune in real estate with the buyers, not the sellers. Buyers pay you your profit and not the sellers. The sellers do not pay you your profits. What's the old saying, Peter? You make your money on the sale and you collect it when, you make your money with the seller.
You make your money when you buy,
That's right.
and you
And
earn it,
you
and you
collect it
collect
when you
it.
sell it.
Yeah.
You make your
Well,
money when you buy and you collect
yeah.
it when you sell it.
I mean, you have to figure out in the beginning how it's going to end because you can't find out in the end it didn't work out so hot.
That's if you're buying, but we're not buying. We're just controlling. Remember,
Yeah.
it's the Fred system. We're flipping real estate documents, not properties, right?
Right. So we're not in danger.
Right. So that's right. We're not in danger. By signing an option agreement, you will put this house on the market and attract buyers that actually have your money. The buyers who are going to pay you. You with me?
Oh yeah.
Right. So you need inventory to attract buyers with your money or your profit. There's no other way it works in today's economy. This is what the realtors do. They sign a multiple listing service. They get inventory. They put the inventory on their MLS or on their sites. People come there. So this is why we have expired listings.
Yeah.
You're going to have expired options. It's just how it works.
That's funny. Expired options.
Right? It's just how it works. Right? So after all, isn't this what the realtors do? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. They don't negotiate the money because it doesn't matter to them. They'll have 10, 20, 30 listings. They don't negotiate. And if it doesn't work, they come back a month later. Oh, the market, and then we have to lower the price. So it's not their fault at all.
Well, they'll accumulate. That's right. They'll accumulate data from sellers. I'm sorry, from buyers, and give it back to the seller.
Yeah, they call it the market, so
right.
it's not their fault. Although they should have known in the first place not to be unrealistic. But in the end, does it really matter? Because somebody will show up and make an offer,
Right.
and you can say, "You want it or not?" Well, I
Right.
wanted more, but close enough, I'll take it. So does it really matter that much?
There's only one reason houses don't sell.
I thought there were 2.
Price.
Well, you should say dysfunctional.
Right. And I realized that dysfunctional means that you got people to the house and you didn't convert. So if you put a house for 426 online that's worth 375 and you don't get enough reaches, people contacting you, it's price.
Oh, like they don't even walk in the house. Oh, hell yeah. Oh yeah.
If they walked in the house, if you had a bunch of people reaching and they walked in the house and you had 20 people walk in the house, then there's something wrong with the house. It's a dysfunctional house.
But still, in the end, if it's dysfunctional, there's still a price for that, isn't there?
Right.
It's a crappy price, but it's a price so they can fix the thing. Oh, I want more. Well, sorry, it's dysfunctional.
So the best thing you could do is just what I talked about. You should give the Grand Slam offer, which I explained on podcast number 451 and 452 how to do this. Right. I actually put a link in the description that will allow you to get a free demonstration on how we do the calculations for the Grand Slam offer. We have a calculator, and I will show you how we use it and how it works. You give me numbers of prices of your house, any house you're doing. You got an offer you want to make, we will devise that offer for you during the demo. Right? So the trick is to make your 100 phone calls, get your poster board, get 100 boxes up on the wall, and put your names, phone numbers, and addresses in the boxes, and give them a Grand Slam offer. When they say no, realize it was not a Grand Slam offer for them. Ask them, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? If it's reasonable, you ask them then, what's the question you asked, Peter?
If I did that, do we have a deal today?
If I agree to that, do we have a deal today?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just a numbers game. Loosen up, man. Just loosen up. Stop trying to make deals. You are going to help this seller do one of two things: sell their house or come to the realization of what they have to do to sell their house. Because the market will teach them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just look at it as a numbers game. Not a numbers game of how many offers you make. It's more of a numbers game of how many houses did you put under an option agreement or under a slot deal agreement, and how many closed. That's your wealth strategy right there. Because when you do it enough times and you isolate what doesn't work more than what does work, if you isolate what doesn't work, you will start to get better on the phones and start telling people, I can't do that because I did 5 houses like that, and here's what happened. And you'll start getting better deals. And if you read my book that I just wrote on Amazon, just go to Amazon and type in William Hawthorne without an E, Hawthorn, and you read my new book, Leads, Deals, Cash, the Creative Real Estate Manual. I show you the 6 steps, which we actually went over on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I show you the 6 steps of how you should test before you invest using the strategies we're talking about today, because everything I talked about today is part of that book and how you're going to make deals. Right? And we have software. I was on a call with a girl last night. She called me. I don't know how people get my phone numbers, but she's not a coaching client. She wants me to coach her on a deal, which I don't do. But she was being annoying. She was texting me and calling me. She had told me she wanted to be a coaching client, and I texted her and called her 2 or 3 times, and she did not respond. So right away, she's on my radar. Like she's just a waste of my time.
Yeah, but she called you when you needed her.
When she needed me.
No, when she needed you. Yes.
Yeah. So I get on the phone with her. She's been in our software, and obviously has misunderstandings on on her training.
Oh.
And I told her, because she was asking about coaching, and she said she doesn't have the money, and I said, listen, here's the deal. I hear that all the time. You don't have the money, but you've been in our software system for a month and a half, and you didn't even know how to use the software. And I spend 15 minutes with you or 20 minutes with you on the phone while I'm driving, smoking a cigar. Right? It was 10 o'clock last night on my way home. Right? Because she's in Arizona. And so I said to her, go to this screen, go to that screen, go to this screen, go to that screen. First of all, she couldn't get her calculator to work in the software. It was because she was in Microsoft. Go to Chrome, right? Bing, bang, boom.
Oh.
She went in an absolute hysterical laugh. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh, and because I said to her, you got a deal. And she's like, oh my, because she was trying to figure out how to make a Grand Slam offer. And I said, well, see that little purple button on the top there? Yeah. It's called a script. Just read that, because she wanted to know how to get the numbers. And she's being all significant about how to get the numbers, and the software did it for her. So you don't have to buy our software. I'm totally cool with that. But I'm telling you, the people that do crush it. They crush it. And the last thing I'm going to say before we go is obviously get the newsletter. It's for free. That's at creativerealestatedealology.com/subscribe. I'm telling you, Peter, you're reading the book now, so you know. My new book, I promote it as a $10,000 coaching program.
Wow.
Because it is.
Yeah.
It's actually a $30,000 coaching program because it is. It's what I would coach you on if I was to get you one-on-one. So it's worth a couple bucks to buy.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so thank you for your support today. Hopefully you got a lot out of today. Please make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Make sure you leave a reply, like a review of some sort. If you leave a 5-star review and you want some goodies, take a snapshot of it and send the snapshot to flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com. And make sure that you subscribe to us or save us, so when we're doing the next podcast, we're here. And I really want you to flourish and prosper. If you haven't gotten that by I practice what I preach. If you haven't gotten that by 454 podcasts that I help, my entire career is based on karma. The more people I help, the more results I get by helping people, the more my life expands. And I've met some incredible people because of that. And there's nothing like it in this world. So just do what we talked about today, and you will be a hero. And there's nothing wrong with being a hero. So thank you again. Have a good week. Flourish and prosper. We will talk to you on episode number 455. Over and out.